All right, welcome. Today we're going to play Cloud Doctor. We're opening up the toolkit for your Google Cloud Platform environment, giving you everything you need to diagnose those tricky performance issues and, just as important, prescribe the best treatments to keep your costs in check. So let's get right into it.
You know the feeling, right? It's 3 a.m., your pager is screaming at you, and the app is just crawling. This is that nightmare scenario every single one of us in the cloud world has lived through. You're the on-call doctor, your app is the patient, and the symptoms are not good. But what's the cause? That's the million-dollar question we need to answer, and fast. But hey, no need to panic. You don't have to scramble around in the dark, because now it's time to open up the diagnostic toolkit. We've got specialized instruments designed to find the root cause of these cloud problems and do it quickly. Okay, so first up in our toolkit is identifying the symptoms. Let's meet our instruments. In this first part, we're going to get familiar with the 4 main tools for figuring out what's really going on inside your applications. Trust me, knowing which tool to grab first is half the battle. So here it is, the whole toolkit in one shot. We've got Cloud Trace for when things are slow, Cloud Profiler for when your resources are getting eaten up, Cloud Debugger for when you need to peek inside a live app, and Error Reporting for, well, reporting errors. Each one answers a very specific, crucial question. Grabbing the right one can be the difference between a 5-minute fix and a 5-hour headache. This is basically your cloud diagnostics cheat sheet. Let's start with the most common problem out there, slowness. You know, when a user just says, the app is slow. Your first move? Cloud Trace. Think of it like a super-powered stopwatch. It follows a single request as it jumps from microservice to microservice, telling you exactly where it's spending its time. It's the ultimate detective for finding those pesky latency bottlenecks. Okay, but what if the problem isn't the network? What if the issue is coming from inside the code? That's when you grab Cloud Profiler. This thing is amazing. It continuously checks your application's vitals, CPU and memory, right down to the function level. And it creates these incredible visuals called fling graphs that instantly show you which piece of code is the resource hog. Best part? It has a super low impact on your live production environment. Sometimes you just need to see what's happening inside the patient right now without stopping the surgery. That is exactly what Cloud Debugger is for. It lets you take a snapshot of your live code in production, you can see the value of any variable at a specific point in time, and you can even inject new log lines without having to do a full redeploy. It's basically like having X-ray vision for your running application. And last but not least, we have error reporting. Think of this as your early warning system, your smoke detector. It's constantly watching your app for exceptions and crashes, but it's smart about it. It groups similar errors together so you're not drowning in alerts, and it tells you when a new kind of problem pops up. This helps you figure out what to fix first, based on what's impacting the most users. It's all about catching a small fire before it becomes a full-blown inferno. Okay, theory's over. You've met the tools. Now it's time for the fun part, a rapid-fire clinic. I'm going to throw a few classic production scenarios at you, and we'll see how to apply the right tool for a super fast diagnosis. Ready?
All right, case number 1. The pager's going off, users are complaining about slow page loads, and you can see it in your dashboards. API response times are creeping up. A classic latency problem. What's your first move? Which tool are you grabbing?
Yep, you got it. The diagnosis is clearly latency, and the prescription is Cloud Trace. You'd fire it up, follow one of those slow requests from start to finish, and I bet you'd find one specific downstream call that's just taking forever. Boom, culprit found. Okay, next patient's on the table. Your monitoring is lit up like a Christmas tree. CPU on your VMs is pinned at 100%. This isn't a network thing. The problem's in the application itself. You've got a hunch that some function is stuck in a nasty infinite loop. How do you find it without taking the whole service down for everyone? The diagnosis here is high CPU, a resource-hungry process. And that calls for our friend, the Cloud Profiler. You attach it to the running app, and in just a few minutes, that flame graph we talked about will act like a heat-seeking missile, pointing you straight to the exact function that's burning up all those cycles. And for our last case in the clinic, this one's tricky. You're hunting a ghost, a bug that only happens in production with real user data. You think you know what it is, but to prove it, you need to see the value of a specific variable at a very specific line of code. Redeploying is not an option. It's too slow, too risky. What do? When you absolutely need that live look inside the code, there's only one tool for the job, Cloud Debugger. You set what's called a snapshot. It's non-breaking. On that line of code, wait for a user to hit it, and bang, you get a full picture of all your variable states, all without interrupting the service for a single second. Case closed. All right, so being a good cloud doctor isn't just about putting out fires, right? It's also about preventative care, about long-term health. So let's switch gears a bit. We're going to pivot from troubleshooting to the financial health of your cloud environment. Let's talk about saving some money. So one of the biggest costs can be networking, and GCP gives you a really interesting choice here. You've got Premium Tier, which routes your traffic over Google's super fast private global network. This is amazing for things like global gaming where every millisecond counts, but you pay a premium for it. Then there's Standard Tier, which uses the regular public internet. The takeaway is simple. If your app isn't super sensitive to latency, maybe it's doing batch processing, switching to Standard Tier is one of the easiest ways to slash your data egress costs. Now for compute costs. Listen up, because this is the big one. Spot VMs. We're talking potential savings of up to 80%. 80! Now, there is a catch. Google can take them back with very little warning, so your application has to be built to handle that, to be fault tolerant. But if you have workloads that can handle that, like batch jobs or stateless web servers, this is hands down the single most powerful way to cut your compute bill. And let's not forget about storage, because it can add up. You know, most data has a life cycle. It cools off over time. It's accessed all the time when it's new, that's hot data, then less often, then almost never. By setting up a simple lifecycle policy in cloud storage, you can completely automate moving that data from the expensive standard storage to the cheaper nearline, and finally to the super cheap cold line for long-term archiving. It's a true set it and forget it way to save money. Okay, let's wrap up this financial health check with a clear prescription. These are the practical, best practice things you can start doing today to keep your cloud financially healthy and, maybe most importantly, avoid those nasty surprise bills. So here it is, your 4-part prescription. First, label everything. I'm serious, everything. This is how you see which team or which project is spending what. It's non-negotiable. Second, set budget alerts. This is your smoke detector for spending. It tells you before you go over budget, not after. A lifesaver. Third, export your billing data to BigQuery. This unlocks some serious power. You can run deep, custom analysis and find savings opportunities you'd never see in a standard dashboard. And finally, use that analysis to find those steady workloads that are perfect candidates for committed use discounts for massive savings. And that brings us to the final question, really. Are you a cloud firefighter or a cloud architect? The tools we talked about today let you be both. The diagnostic toolkit makes you an incredible firefighter when things go wrong. But the cost optimization, the best practices, that's the stuff of a cloud architect, someone who proactively builds a system that's strong, efficient, and healthy from the very beginning. So, which one are you building towards?
We hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe for more Apex Insights.